Finding their seats, we'll get started with the introductions. Thank you. We're now going to move into, I guess, more of a bit of an IT-focused session to start us off, and I'm pleased to welcome David Rubie to the front of the room. Many of you, particularly those of you in Merino Select, will know David as the front man from receiving and handling and reporting Merino Select data. But David also plays a key role in the website and tools development. Okay, we've got you all. Can we have a bit of shush now, please? Thank you. So David's going to speak with us this morning around developments in the website, the dashboard, and a new smartphone app. But a little bit of history on David, as per everybody. He's been with Merino Select on sheep genetics for a little over 10 years now, so he's certainly one of the long-term members of the team. He saw the light all those years back and got out of the banking world in Sydney. And I guess what's ironic is I look here and I see Dave wearing a tie, because I remember when he moved to Armidale, one of the things he proudly told me was that he gave away all his suits and his ties because he didn't want to ever wear a suit and tie again, was part of his logic. So sorry, Dave, we've got you back in the tie at least for one day of the year.
I blame Will.
So I'll now hand you over to David. Thank you.
All right. I'll probably start with a bit of background that's not necessarily written in these slides, and it starts with a very bad story, which is that about 4 or 5 years ago, I was in a meeting with Sam, and we had this sudden realisation that everything we did was wrong. I think. I mean, everything in terms of the way we collected data from breeders and everything in terms of the way that we deliver breeding values out. It was all very difficult to do things like get people to use the breeding values in other ways, other than, I load it into my pedigree wizard and I look at it, or I go to the website and I look at it. There's no further on use of that data. It makes it hard. We were making it too hard to do things like make pen cards and let you make catalogues and doing all that sort of stuff. So what we decided in the end was, because we had another problem coming at us, which was this what I would refer to as a complete tsunami of data that we were being faced with from the genomics end, from the repro stuff that was being done back then, and who knows what else is going to come out as the carcass data. And we thought, if we're struggling to handle the data coming in and out now, what's it going to be like when all this new stuff starts coming in? And so we formulated a bit of a plan back then to take our old ways of working and throw them out and replace them. So we kind of decided that we were going to start working a lot more closely with people like Rob Wild and people like Practical Systems to make their job easier and to try to grow a market for software and to get some competition in data submission software. And I think that project has been pretty successful. I don't know what Rob's view of that is, if he's still here. But from our point of view, it's been wildly successful in terms of giving all of you guys in this room a choice about the software you use rather than having something foisted on you. The other thing that we really wanted to address was trying to make things easier, trying to make the breeding values far more accessible for everybody. Now that project is still ongoing. We're going to go through just some basic changes to the website, but what you probably don't or won't understand underneath all this stuff is that we've started to throw away the underpinnings of a lot of these systems. They still look kind of the same, but in actual fact, they're built on a very new or a much newer technology that allows us to let third parties, for example, access breeding values and display them in different contexts and use them in different and novel ways. So this is the old search website that was there probably about 3 weeks ago, that you're all probably not that in love with. So we gave it a bit of lippy and put a frock on it and sent it back out. It's Well, it is, but she's been rejuvenated. So these bits and pieces don't look like much, but it now means that this website renders properly on a phone, which is pretty important for a lot of people. If you're using your phone in the yard, the old website used to make you flick and scroll, and it didn't draw the boxes properly, and all sorts of horrible things depending on the device you were holding. So we've fixed that issue. When we talk about going mobile first, that doesn't mean we're going to abandon laptop users. All it means is that the website should be just as functional on your phone or on your iPad as it is on your laptop. So there's a heap of changes just listed there. I mean, I'm not going to read all that stuff out, but simple things that we couldn't do before, like making it easy to navigate between the different analyses, now you can do it. So on this animal details page, you can see now that we've added this very, very ugly looking graph down the bottom here. But what that is telling you is where in the percentile band that trait fits. So you don't have to click on the number underneath anymore. You can just bring up that graphic, and I promise I'll change the colours at some stage. You just have a look at that graphic. That'll tell you that this guy's over here, he's in the top 10%, but he's not for this trait here. We added some, and I know this sounds like a really stupid thing, but this took quite a bit of work. We put some scroll bars on the page so that when you select a lot of columns on this thing, it used to blow the margin out to the side, and it used to make, at least the tablet I used at home, scream and fall to pieces. So it's just, there's a few little design details like that we've started to incorporate that make it easy to use on smaller devices, make it easy to use on your laptop as well, and allows you to flick around that screen with your thumb. We've pushed the dashboard down one level, and so we have this tools page. Now on the tools page, what we're going to do is, as we develop brand new tools, and this isn't just a tools page, by the way, this is the entire framework for development for us, so that we can rapidly prototype things and throw them up on this screen. We can throw them up just for an individual breeder, or for a service provider, or for everybody, as those new tools are developed. So we can get things tested and make sure they're working properly before we roll them out to everybody. So I hope you'll get used to flicking through this screen fairly often. Who loves this page? I love this web page because it reminds me of the very first time I ever saw what was the prototype internet in about 1989. But it's going away. So what happens now is if you go to the tools page and you click on My Updates or My Files, I think it's called in the other thing, you will get a much smaller list of things to see. We are able to do things like securely put your PDFs in this page, securely put your RBV reports in this page, so that they don't need password protection, for example. You do need to log into the website, but on the old screen, everything in here, everyone can see everyone else's stuff, and it's protected by a password on the individual file, and we can't hide anything. It's just too inflexible. So on this page, I'll show you something really funky in a minute, but this page is designed so that if we need to deliver you a custom report, we can just poke it in here and send you an email and say, go to your tools page and pick it up, and it'll sit there, and you can pick it up at your leisure. Adding this new way of working for us has enabled us to do things like incorporate new technology much more easily. So while there was quite a bit of initial pain in accessing the MateCell system in this fashion, we now have quite a powerful tool in that once you're given access to MateCell, you can set up a mating selection run, and if you're having trouble with it, you can ring me up or you can ring up one of the other guys in the office and say, can you look at my mate cell run and see what I'm doing wrong? We can go straight to that page and tweak it, fix it, tell you what's going wrong, right, give you some advice, run it again for you if we need to, or you can continue to run it for yourselves. But it's entirely sitting within the context of the website, so you don't have to download a program. You don't have to do things like download, like for TGRM at the moment, you've got to create a list that's full of breeding values, and this system goes and grabs the breeding values from the website for you. Luke's going to talk in more detail about it shortly. This is the dashboard page. I don't know how many people exactly in this room have used it. It's also another pretty powerful tool. You can do things on this dashboard page like compare the performance of your animals versus of your overall flock versus the performance of your sires, and just see what effect your selection decisions are having. You can do things like take two antagonistic traits and stick them up side by side on the screen and have a look at what they're doing to each other. So if you can take fat and number of lambs weaned or something and stick them on the page and see what they're doing in your flock. You can also see what kind of generation interval you're currently running, and you can compare yourself with your contemporaries. This screen's really just as another example of our new way of working and just how powerful it can be, and the kind of tools that we'll be able to offer in the future based on the same stuff. So that's just a little blurb on how the dashboard can work. If you haven't tried it, I encourage you to go and have a play. You can't break anything. It's good fun. This is our new mobile website. So if you're on a phone and you're really struggling to use the main search website, I would encourage you to give this a go. It's built on exactly the same technology underneath as all of our new stuff. It's something we refer to as an API, an application programming interface. All of these systems are now sitting on top of this API rather than being an older style web service. So within here you can do all the searches that you can do on the advanced search screen in the main website. You can just search for a sire if you want, or you can search for animals that have a particular range of ASBVs. And once you're in here, you can do things like bring up their pedigree and have a look. There's a link. If you forget the URL, there's a link to this page on the Land Plan and Merino Select pages that you can just click straight on. And there's another view of the new mobile site. Again, this is probably more aimed at phones rather than, say, an iPad, simply because it does things like make the fonts much bigger, so it's much easier to read out in the sunlight, for example. So that's. Can I get you to switch that? Sorry, thank you. So that's all the boring slides. It seems a bit odd to be talking about websites. It's a bit like I think someone described writing about music as the same as dancing about architecture. And so talking about websites is pretty much the same deal, isn't it? So here I'm logged in as one of our clients here. This is the main page of the system. You can see I can flick around now quickly to the different kinds of analyses, even goats if you have to. I'm just going to show you quickly what's available for Darren. So he's got less buttons on his screen because he's not allowed to see some of the newer stuff. We need to do things like limit access to Matesville until we've got the training all finished for everybody. So Darren hasn't done his training, so he can't see it. I want to go and have a look at what are my updates for today. So I just bring that up really quick. I can see what date my file has been written. So this was last update, 18th of the 3rd. If you're waiting for an update from Stephen, just keep refreshing this page and it'll show up. So there's 2 copies of my download data here. So this is the old executable file that you run when you want to install your ASBVs into your system. That's the zip file if you're using CoolPerform. All of the reports that were sent out to Darren are sitting in here. So if he forgets them or deletes his email, he just comes straight in here and he can click on them and grab them again. There's new reports in here. So things like there are reports, for example, that Agbu create that we didn't distribute very often, but we'll just throw them in here from now on. You can just come to this page and click on the ones that you want. And there's also a small system in here for doing radical experiments, I guess you'd say. So if we've got some tool that we've cooked up and we want somebody to play with it, all I've got to do is make it available just to you or just to half a dozen people. It'll appear in this page, and you can run the little experiment. This is something that Stephen cooked up quite a while ago that we've had no real way of distributing before. This is his motion chart thing. Off it goes. I wouldn't be too concerned. I mean, it's cool. But the idea behind showing you this is that now we've got a really flexible way of delivering new things quickly and testing them and really shortening our development cycle. And that's where he ended up. There's all sorts of things you can do in here. Once you log in, I think pretty much everyone will have a motion chart available. I don't know about the Marinos just yet. I might have to talk him into doing that. But there's all sorts of clicky things on here and buttons, and I don't know what half of it does, but I'll do it again. They're off to the races again. Oh, sorry, that's the flock in question. So that's come back. It's gone. So, I mean, what we're really trying to do. Actually, I've got another thing to show you. Because all of these websites are now built on separating out the view completely from the data. What we can do is, this is a mob called ClassyMate. They came to us and said, we've got clients who want to display breeding values next to their critter. And we said, well, sure. I don't know why they picked goats, but... so I've got my critter there, I've got all his details, he's probably for sale, or ClassyMate, a system that you'll need to talk to ClassyMate about. If I click on this button here, it goes off to my machine, it goes off to the sheep genetics server, and it grabs all the details. And, okay, so there's a little pedigree display down here, for example, so it goes back and gets all the... You didn't realise people recorded pedigree in goats, did you? But they do. If I'm in one of these boxes, I can click on that, and that'll take me to the search page. It'll take me to the sheep genetics search page. All the ASBVs are here, displayed in context, displayed in a completely different context from the way we would. Yeah, so ClassyMate's information is at the top. They go and fetch the ASBVs from my server. They're always up to date. And we are in the business now of encouraging every third party we can with fresh ideas about how to display ASBVs to come and talk to us, and we'll show them how to use the API, and they can do something wonderful with it. I was super impressed with this thing, because I think the whole project, when the bloke who runs ClassyMate, when he had it commissioned, I think it cost him all of about $5,000 to get that put on that website, and that would have been a $50,000 project 10 years ago. Okay, so that's about it. If anyone's got any questions.
Okay, thank you, David. So as long as you're not going to continue down the avenue of mutton dressed up as lamb, Don, I'll give you the first question.
I'll stick to the point that I still think it's an old tart. David, why is it that when you click on any one of the traits to see what's highest in that trait, it automatically goes to what's lowest in that trait first.
Yeah,
and it's such a slow thing to use, so it's just another step that you have to go through every time, and I don't know why that hasn't been fixed.
It hasn't been fixed because it's very hard to fix based on those pages. We do have an idea about how to fix it, and it will be fixed very shortly. So I have a test version of that system that does the sorting correctly. We just haven't put it in production yet.
And the other thing is, at the moment you can't get choose columns.
Okay. Can I
Just repeat the question, Don.
The other thing is that when I go to choose columns, I cannot get the choose columns.
Why is that thing flashing down here? It's probably because it's a bit hidden in this new style thing, and we need to.
Sorry, it's working here.
Yeah. So it's not as obvious as it was, and maybe we should change the colour up here or something. This website is actually due for another revamp. We have a project that's ongoing to fix a lot of the consistency rules in between this one and our content site, which should be finished in about 2 months. So things will change again a little bit, but it'll still look pretty much like this. And some of this stuff will be sorted out. But yeah, that should be there.
Dave, just like with ClassicMate there,
Yes.
how easy is it to set up, say, on an individual stud's website for their semen size to have up-to-date breeding values looking straight at?
It's reasonably straightforward. It depends on the level of skill of your web programmer.
It's not me.
Okay. No, that's actually a very good point. If you've got your own website, we haven't got to the point yet where I've got I would love to get to the point where on YouTube, for example, there's a little embed button for the video, so you can embed the video in the context of your website. I'd love to have a embed button next to an animal, so you can say, I'm embedding this one, and it gives you the code to cut and paste onto your website. It's certainly quite easy technically to do. It's just a little bit of time that we need to invest to get that done. And if people think that's a good idea, because we don't want to waste time doing things that people aren't going to use, I guess.
Debbie Milne here, David. Just a query that I'm often asked when I've been running around doing the Data Smart workshops is the ability to bring up more than 300 animals.
Yes. There's a policy decision that I think we're going to throw away.
Yes, because it's extremely irritating for the larger flocks that want to bring up all their animals,
Yep.
and they can only get 300.
There are some performance issues with trying to drag every animal out of the system. We'll probably still have a limit. We will increase it to, I don't know, a couple of thousand maybe for members, but people who aren't logged in will still get that limitation.
Fair enough.
Thank you. One from George.
On the dashboard, can we replace genetic interval, or is that a stationary one to remind us?
Sorry, can we replace which one?
Genetic intervals. It seems to be fixed.
Oh, yes, if you want to. What do you want to replace it with?
Just as I'm going along, I was playing the other day, I was playing with it the other day, and the generation intervals kept coming up on every time I tried it, and I couldn't sort of replace it with another 2 graphs. So.
No, the page was designed that way so that you can always be reminded of your generation intervals. It's a big driver of genetic gain, and we wanted to make it upfront and in your face. But I mean, I can hide it in an accordion just for you.
Hopefully that generation interval's not scaring you, George.
Darren Smith. Just a quick thing about the percentile bands that are new.
Yep.
Can we still offer the Angus Society and colour code them, so the fertility traits, the growth traits, the meat eating quality are different colours? So
That's a great idea, and we should do it.
Makes it easy to see.
So when I revamp the ugly colours, I'll code them up based on that. That's a great idea.
Okay, Dave, we've got 2 questions sitting on the screen behind you, or probably in front of you as well there. Could you address those for us, please?
We would love to deal with Auctions Plus. I would love to. That would be. I would drop everything to go over there and say, "Here's our API. I'll sit down and code it for you."
Dave, I might just jump in there, and I actually had a catch up with Auctions Plus a couple of months back in Sydney, and they are genuinely interested in how they might be able to use this API type links into the database to work with their clients who are running seed stock sales through Auctions Plus. So we put it directly on their radar. Okay.
How do service providers access clients' dashboards? Hello, Anne, if you're out there. We need to give you permission. So if you're a service provider at the moment, you need to get your client to send us an email and say, "Can you please let Anne Ramsey have a look at my dashboard?" Well, I have a change. There's a page missing on the tools page that is a personal preferences, and on that personal preferences page, there will be the option for you to be able to nominate a service provider without any intervention from us. So you can nominate a service provider or rescind their access at any stage.
So that's a really good point to note, that in the development that Dave and the team are working on is the capacity to hand more of that day-to-day maintenance and decision-making and keeping things done